Come on, I didn't mean to do that.
I wonder what stZ's settings are.
A lot of you already know about this, but for those of you that don't, I b-hop with scroll wheel. It makes b-hopping about 1,000,000 times easier since every time you scroll, it's inputting jump about 10 or more times depending on what mouse you're using, rather than just pressing spacebar once. Most of the time I'm going for b-hops, so I'll use the G502 since you can flick the scroll wheel and it will continue spinning for a second even when your finger isn't touching it. However, it's doable with just about any mouse. For combat binds, you should all just be whatever is comfortable for you. Now, onto building, there's a lot to cover, but before I start, the most important thing is having binds that you're comfortable with, even if they're not the best that they can be. But if you're okay with binds that will be a little weird to get used to, I recommend doing it. So for starters, I recommend having all your build binds on keys that are, for 1, all pressed with separate fingers, and 2, bound to keys that are not pressed with your WASD finger. Moving on, I have double rotate binds for things like this. However, I rarely use them, so it's not really necessary. I have changed material on tab because I'd always press the right click on accident and waste brick or metal when I didn't mean to, but again, this isn't necessary, but it might help. For editing, I use confirm on release with scroll wheel reset, and I don't really recommend anybody using triple or double edit binds anymore unless you have an extra bind to use it on. I just don't think it's worth the extra input since release is just as fast, if not faster. I'd say to just use single bind with scroll wheel reset if you're looking for more control. With that being said, you can have your edit key on whatever is comfortable for you, but I keep mine on my mouse for full movement. Or select edit, and this is an important one, but I have it bound to right click instead of left. This is super helpful, and I recommend everybody switches to this, especially if you use confirm on release. Reason for this is because when you edit something, you can instantly build after you edit since you don't have to take your index finger off of left click at all. This is huge since you can mow people way faster and you can do hard edits much easier. Also, my middle finger is faster than my pointer finger as it is, so it also increases my edit speed a bit. And then since I have selected it on right click, reset is moved to left, and of course mouse wheel down so I can scroll wheel reset as well. And moving on to my sense, I play on 70 eDPI, and if you don't know what that is, it's just taking off the zeros from your DPI and multiplying it by your in-game sense. So for example, my DPI is 1600, so it would be 16 times 4.3, which is about 70. If you wanted to use this sense with 800 DPI, you would use 8.75% in game and you'd get the same result.
What is up guys, Parallel Tid here, and today I'm going to be showing you guys my controller settings. So we'll start off with the graphic settings. I run a full screen 1920 by 1080 and I run 160 frames, but my monitor is 144, so it's capped just a little bit over. High brightness, quality, I've got view distance on fire, everything else is on low. VSync definitely off, motion blur off, show FPS on. Toggle sprint off, but sprint by default's on. Sprint cancel reloading is off as well. Auto open doors is on. Those are two main settings I have on that I love using. Turbo building definitely on. Reset building choice is off. Confirm edit on release is on. So I don't use double edit binds. Move on. HUD scale is 65%. I have everything on except reticle, ammo indicator, and runtime performance stats. Controller auto run is off. Build immediately. Builder Pro is on. Edit time on the lowest setting. Vibration definitely off. My build mode is 2.0, my edit mode is 1.8, and I'm using advanced options. So I've got a 70x sensitivity and a 60y, along with 0 boost for both X and Y, with a 0.20 second boost RAM time. Instant boost is off, so that doesn't really matter. Those are my ADS sense. Look, horizontal is 12, same as vertical. No boost on those as well. Dampening time definitely down to 0.00, linear, MSS strength as much as we can. We got a L2 kids. On my left stick I have 5% dead zone, which actually makes your movement better, a little tip there. And then 7% dead zone on my right stick. Foot controllers on, both on 1%. These are my binds. Everything's fine on this end. The only thing I've really changed here is my left thumbstick I use to reload / interact. Still right thumbstick to crouch, A is still to jump, B is still to edit. These are pretty much standard builder pro settings, but I've had my X on switch mode so I can not hold B to edit. My pickaxe is still Y. Build control is pretty much the same thing. Edit control, so it says confirm with B, but I do use confirm and release, so I don't even have to press B. And as you guys saw, 0.05 left stick, 0.07 right stick. Yeah, hope you guys enjoyed my settings.
Hey, what's up guys, it's Milliam here and I'm going to be showing you guys my settings on the parallel channel. So without further ado, let's get right into it. So starting off here, I play 1080p on 144 FPS capped. That's basically everything for here, and then if we go over to these settings, the simple settings, I've got auto open doors on, sprint by default, confirm edit and release, and that's basically all of the important stuff here. Now moving on to the HUD, I usually keep some of these stuff off for creative clips, like stuff like minimap, or I could turn the net debug status off, but I always keep this at 60%, and if I'm playing comp or zone wars or anything, I'll always keep all of these on. Now moving swiftly on to my sensitivity, I play 15% on both with 400 DPI. I use a 50% targeting sensitivity and 54% scoped. Now moving on to my keybinds, I use pretty much default for everything up here. Then for my use, I have my scroll wheel up binded and T for reload. Now here's my slots, and this is what I use for a build. So I use wall. For my wall, I use one of my thumb buttons, and I use the same for my stairs. I use Q for my floor. And for my cone or roof, I use my left shift. Now moving on, I'm just going to show the rest of these settings. I do use scroll wheel reset. It is very, very good in tight situations like box fights. Anyways, that's it for me on the parallel channel. Thank you guys so much for featuring me, and those are my settings.
Yo, what up, y'all? But hey, listen, this is my settings, parallel Serk. Serk can't swim, you feel me? But yeah, here are my settings. Okay, so basically, blah blah blah. All this is just like preference, I guess. This stuff too, just do whatever fits you. But here are my real settings. You feel me? I have this edit hold time max because I just feel like it makes my edits like do better. I don't know. It might be placebo, but 51, 59. I like having a higher vertical because then I can flick easier. No boost, none of that. My ADS, I kind of made it match my, sense, so it just feels perfect. I play linear, really low dead zone, so I could just like, you know what I'm saying. And yeah, these are my binds. I don't use an Xbox controller. I actually use a PS4 controller, but I just do this because it makes me feel like my input delay is less. I don't know, probably placebo again, but yeah, it's pretty cool. Pretty chill settings, but yeah, that's parallel Serk. Yeah.